So just yesterday I got into a situation where I felt really trapped, and I've gotten into those kinds of situations in the past before, but it doesn't happen as often nowadays. And there's times where I've gone places and I'm in a situation where I'm not comfortable with it all, and there's no one I know very well at all there for me to talk to about how I'm feeling and just talk to it all, really. It's Things start to build up. Emotions start to build up. Things get worse and worse the longer I'm left like that. With my Asperger's syndrome, I do have issues with social stuff. Like, I can talk about stuff I like and to people I know, but I'm really bad at initiating conversation with people I don't really know very well, especially if it's like people who are already doing something. So I was in a big public situation. There were only two people there who I knew, but they were back in a kitchen making food because it was a big event kind of thing. I don't feel like going into the details of what it was, but yeah, and I was there, and I didn't even have my tablet with me or anything. I had nothing, and I felt stuck, just surrounded by strangers there and feeling awkward, no one to talk to. I was having emotional buildup. When I'm in a situation like that, I just can't talk about it. There's no one to talk to about it, and I feel too unable to go and try to speak to someone to find the people, if there's people there who I know, to talk to them. And even then, if they're like busy with something, sometimes I find it harder to talk to them. And the more it builds up, the harder it is for me to communicate, because I'm trying to hold in emotions and I'm feeling worse and worse and worse, and I can't think as clearly or get myself to communicate as clearly. And that's what leads to me having a breakdown if it lasts long enough. Thankfully, yesterday it didn't, and it doesn't usually, because what ended up happening was I went and got to the point where I did just lean against a wall like this, against the wall, and eventually someone did come up and say what's Sterling, what's wrong? And I didn't know how they knew my name, really. I'm bad at remembering anyone's name or face, especially with my vision issue. Can't really remember faces and stuff. My memory's gotten worse, I think. But I wasn't really able to give an answer to that because I was having trouble just even speaking at all at that point. She said, do you want me to get Scott? And that was someone I knew. And I managed to say yes, and I don't know how that person knew. I just thank God that sent that person to ask me that. And so Scott did come over and start trying to talk to me, and at first it was hard to communicate, but he got me out of that room, and I spoke a bunch, and it helped me to start to feel better. But if I hadn't gotten that, it would start to get worse and worse and worse, and then I would probably have an episode. And I'd like to talk sometime more in depth about that. You know what? I think I should do that now, because this is what it applies to. Having an episode. So I'm pretty well aware of my emotions. I can tell when things are starting to build up, and I was trying to not think too negative thoughts. I was trying to keep the emotions from building up too much, but it was a long time. It was building up. There wasn't anything I could do to stop that. So when I'm in a situation like that, if I feel like I can't speak to someone, but say there's people there I know and I do want to get their attention, at first the emotions will start to build up, but that's just it, just normal emotions building up. It's like stage 1. But then stage 2 is I start to feel like I need to talk to someone, and I'll try to, and if I can communicate well, which I usually can communicate okay at that point, I will try to talk to someone about it, generally. But if I can't get someone to talk to me that I know, or I just don't get an opportunity to because I'm too reserved about interrupting them when they're doing something, builds up, I'll get to stage 3, I might start wandering around a bit and start to find it very difficult to communicate. I just can't get my vocal cords to work very well. because I'm trying really hard to hold in the emotions, and that takes a lot of effort from me. And I just walk around sort of hoping that someone will talk to me. And then if that goes on for long enough, then I hit a stage 4 where I start to have a breakdown. Might start clutching my head because I'm trying so hard to hold in the emotions. It's painful. Might like fall down or something, or start to pull my shirt or my hair or something because I can't hold the emotions in fully anymore. I feel like crying. I might like cough or yell a little bit to myself, but I still try to hold it in because I don't want to disturb people. And it just gets worse and worse. And I thank God that at that point there's always been someone, if it's ever gotten to that point, there's been someone who's been able to come over and sort of help me. So I haven't gotten to what I would call stage 5 in years. That was probably just when I was a kid when I had less restraint, and I can't really remember what that was like. But I thank God that I have not gotten there, because that's probably what would lead to some actual destruction. Either if it's depression, it's to myself, or if it's with rage, I will do it to something else. Or both. Probably both. Usually when I have an episode like that and I'm holding emotions in, I'm like rapidly switching between extreme depression and extreme anger. Not everyone with bipolar has that, but with my case, that's what happens with me. Normally people with bipolar, I've read and heard from some people, is it's more like they just have long periods of something, of one of them, and not as extreme as my build-up, because like it's just building up for me. And I'm on medication, so like I'm normally more stable, as you can probably tell by this video, but when it's building up like that, I'm talking about building up for like at least 20 minutes, like half an hour, over half an hour of trying to hold these emotions in and not being able to talk about them with anyone, or even do anything to try to alleviate them for the moment, like say watch YouTube or just play a game or something, to try to alleviate those emotions for the time being. Because you still need to work through them. You can't not work through emotions. You have to. But, that can help me just deal with it for the time being, cope with it. But once it gets to like stage 3, I don't even want to do those things anymore. So it's bad. Thankfully, it doesn't happen very often. Yesterday I just got into a situation where I didn't even have anyone I knew nearby, so I wasn't even doing my trying to get attention thing. I guess maybe when I was against the wall, I was hoping someone would talk to me, and it did happen. So I guess I would call that stage 3 then. Didn't really think much about it in terms of that thought process back then. But that's how things have been for me when my emotions do get out of control nowadays, for the most part. Generally, sometimes like I'll get more depressed or more angry a bit easier than normal people, but I'm on medication, so it's pretty stable. It's not that bad. But these are the episodes I can get. And thanking God that those don't happen very often. I don't know if this is the same for anyone else with bipolar. If you have bipolar or know someone with it, just let me know in the comments what your knowledge is on this kind of situation and the way the emotions and build-up works. That's how it works for me. So yeah, thanks for listening to this. If you went through this entire thing, because this was long. I don't normally plan these out. I try to get a topic in mind. When I do have one, then I'll talk about it. But that's one of the reasons that it's just so much time between videos. Like I can't think of anything I really feel like I wanted to talk about. But after yesterday, I do have this that I want to talk about, and I'm glad for it, because I had wanted to finally get around to making a video to post, since it's been like, how long, a month? That's way too long. I was hoping to upload these like at least once a week, because I know there's a lot that's going on in my life, a lot that I've learned, and a lot that could very potentially help other people to hear, even if just in a small way. I feel like it's not just a good thing, but my responsibility to share this stuff and not just keep it to myself. So also, if there's anything you would like to hear my thoughts and experiences with bipolar disorder or Asperger's syndrome, or other disorders, I have a decent amount of knowledge and experience with some of them. Not that I have them, but it depends. But those two are the ones that I live with and have been a major factor in my life. So, yeah, thanks for watching. Leave a comment. I'd like to know I'd like to be able to talk about these things and know what to say, really, what to talk about. So yeah, thanks for watching.